Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another masterclass. We have a nice one for you today. It's actually something that Alistair has just come up with, which was very interesting because it's come up in a few of his sessions. And he's mentioned that in many cases, he hears this several times during, well, frequently, that's for sure. And so what we're going to cover it today. And it's all to do with one particular expression, right, Alistair? One particular expression in Spanish and how we take it over into English. And the actual expression in Spanish is por eso, right? And what we need to explain here, Alistair, is what type of expressions you sometimes hear from Spanish speakers. We'll probably go there first, just so that everybody's kind of aware of the kind of mistakes that they're making. So we'll make that clear. And then we'll go to the actual expression that a native speaker would use, right? That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. So this is very good. Now, one mistake that actually I don't hear that commonly, but it's a mistake I imagine a Spanish speaker could make, maybe lower levels, perhaps, just translating it directly and saying for that. So for that is definitely not right. And we would never say for that in these circumstances. But actually the mistake that I hear more commonly, and this is with higher level speakers. And they'll say for that reason. And I'm sure some of our fluency community members might recognize that when I go, oh, yes, I say, but when they're thinking, por eso, when you're explaining the why you do something, say, oh, for that reason. Now, for that reason makes perfect sense. It's not sort of wrong exactly.
No, that's an important point. It's an important point to say, really, isn't it, Alistair? Because it's just a bit cumbersome. That's what I would say. It's like it technically, in terms of the grammar form, it's not incorrect.
Sense.
For that
reason. It's not incorrect. It makes sense. So if you say that to a native speaker, for that reason, people understand what you're saying perfectly well.
They do.
But it just doesn't sound natural.
It doesn't, no.
Because a native speaker might say that sometimes, but I think far more often, I don't know, 99 times out of 100, a native speaker would be much more likely to say, that's why. That is why. Usually we say that's why.
Yeah. I've just started thinking, Alistair, maybe in written form, a native speaker would potentially write it, right? So
maybe sounds a bit more formal.
For that reason, we have decided to,
possible.
Increase the budget, right?
For that reason. We do use for that reason. And maybe written more formal. It sounds good.
It does sound actually good.
Just given.
Yeah.
But I think when you're just speaking conversationally in normal and in work situation, not necessarily formal or informal exactly, but just speaking, it just sounds much more natural to say that's why.
Exactly.
For that reason. That for that reason sounds very written. It's very.
It does.
Quite formal or relatively formal and very in written texts. So you can use it. It does exist. It's okay. People understand it. But I think if you want to sound more natural, like a native speaker, when you're speaking, to say try to get in your head that's why. It's quite difficult, I think, because there's a lot of my clients, they know it. And when I say it, they go, oh, yes, of course. It's not something new to them. But they find it very difficult to use it, and they don't remember in the moment. They're thinking por eso, and they just go automatically to for that reason. And I will say that's why, and they go, oh yeah, that's why. But it's not something they seem to be able to retain. So this is why we're doing this today, to
absolutely
get this phrase into people's minds, and then get our members to practice using it, and try to get that into their minds so that it comes to them quickly in the moment they need it. This is the point.
Exactly. So there's a slight differentiation between the formality here, right? So one, we would say, yes, if you want it, you could use it verbally, but then you'd be in a very formal situation. So like, for that reason, we have decided to do this. I think that probably I would use that maybe even in a speech, like to all of the employees. For that reason, we have decided to...
the CEO giving some speech to the... So it's quite formal. So for that reason, the company has decided to do this. So explaining something, maybe it's a negative thing, like could be sacking, firing, making redundant some of the workforce. Say for that reason, we've had to unfortunately make 300 people redundant because of the economic situation of the company is not good. So the CEO or whoever it is explaining this, and they say for that reason. So
Yeah.
that sounds perfectly good in that context.
It does.
Bit
It
more
does.
formal, bit more serious situation. Like
Yeah.
say, talking to a group of people. But if you were just talking in a normal conversation with your colleague, explaining something in the office on a day-to-day basis, much more natural just to say, oh no, that's why I did that. Because
Exactly.
you're explaining
Exactly.
why you did something. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why, he has to travel every day 50 kilometers from outside Madrid, and there's a lot of traffic. So that's why he's always late.
Sure.
You wouldn't
Exactly.
say, for that reason he's always late. It sounds too
No,
formal for
it
that
does. It
for that
does.
situation.
Yeah. And that's the key part of kind of taking your English to the next level, right? Is understanding what sort of terminology to use depending on the type of context, right? And the better your English gets, the more you realize, well,
You're
okay,
able
this
to
is
judge those things.
this is a
when it's
more
appropriate.
formal situation, so I'll use this. This is a less formal situation, so we'll use this. Now, because our members probably will have problems with that's why, that's what we're going to actually...
That's why we're doing this. That's because we know people have problems with this. That's why we are doing this masterclass today.
Exactly
That's
right.
why I would like people to film themselves and do the challenge so I
Exactly.
can correct them if they make a mistake. That's why we're doing it. So there's a good example of, we wouldn't say here, that is the reason we're doing this. You could say that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we probably wouldn't in a conversational style, at least.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. So the challenge is, as usual, to come up with some sort of context, some sort of sentence, some sort of story that you can think of and that comes to you easily. Get yourself in front of your phone, record yourself, and try to use that particular expression. That's why. Okay. It might be tricky, it might be difficult, it might be a little bit hard for you to bring that expression to your mind, but the more you use it, the more natural it will feel. And once you've got that expression, you'll have that alternative to the overly formal other expression that probably comes to your mind when you're doing these types of things.
Okay? So they just have to think of a work situation that's true, or you can invent it, explaining something. You know? So wherever you would say y por eso, and you're explaining why, and then try to get that. That's why. So it could be, I know, at the moment you're snowed under with work. I don't know if we did a masterclass on this.
We did. I think we did snowed under.
I think we did, didn't we? About,
maybe.
Working flat out. So you've got a lot of work. You're snowed under, and you explain. And why is that? So and that's why I'm working so hard, because I don't know, whatever it may be. So there's many. You can think of almost any situation that you just explain something to us, and you say that's why. Yeah. And try to use that phrase.
Yeah. Good. Alistair, thank you very much for that. Really great, as usual. And hopefully we get many people recording, and you can give them that amazing feedback that you normally do. Thank you for your time. Really amazing to be here with you. And I'll see you again next week. All right.
Thank you.
Speak soon. See you then. Bye-bye.